Greetings. Today we continued the study of Revelation chapter 14. We'll be looking at the seventh of the seven visions in Revelation 14, 17 through 20. And another angel came out of the temple which is in heaven, he also having a sharp sickle. And another angel came out from the altar which had power over fire, and cried with a loud voice to him that had the sharp sickle, saying, Thrust in thy sharp sickle, and gather the clusters of the vine of the earth, for her grapes are fully ripe. And the angel thrust in his sickle into the earth, and gathered the vine of the earth, and cast it into the great winepress of the wrath of God. And the winepress was trod without the city, and blood came out of the winepress, even under the horse bridles, by the space of 1,600 furlongs. So we undertake the consideration of the seventh of the seven visions of Revelation 14. Again, we note that Valdor, quoting Kelly, has suggested that this is the outline of the consummation of the age, that there are seven divisions. We briefly will review them. One, the full remnant of godly Jews, allegiant to the Lamb, standing in ultimate victory upon Mount Zion in the first 5 verses. 2, the proclamation of the everlasting gospel in verses 6 and 7. 3, the fall of Babylon in verse 8. Again, the fulfilling in Revelation 7, 18 and 19. 4, the doom of the worshipers of the beast, his image and his number in verses 9 through 11. 5, the blessing upon God's martyrs of this age in verses 12 and 13. 6, the final ingathering of harvest wheat in verses 14 through 16. And 7, the ultimate destruction of the tares, the treading out of the bunches of the grapes of earth's vine, in the great winepress of the wrath of God here in verses 17 through 20. So surely we must conclude, after a careful study, that we have before us a foreshadowing of the events which are recorded in Revelation chapter 19. So we ask again, how is it the Lamb finally stands in victory with his people upon Mount Zion? So the seemingly ignored question of Revelation 13:4, who is like unto the beast, who is able to make war with him, will now be answered. Let's compare the words of Joel 2:11, where it says, And the Lord shall utter his voice before his army, for his camp is very great. For he is strong that executeth his word. For the day of the Lord is great, and very terrible, very awesome. Who can abide it? So we see the treading out of the wrath of God here in these verses 17 through 20. There is a prophecy concerning this in Revelation 14:14. And I looked, and behold, a white cloud upon the cloud one sitting like unto the Son of Man, having on his head a golden crown, and in his hand a sharp sickle. Isaiah 66:14 says, And when you shall see this, your heart shall rejoice, and your bones shall flourish as an herb. And the hand of the Lord shall be known toward his servants, and the idea is his indignation toward his enemies shall be known. Now, Isaiah 66:14 exactly expresses the same two thoughts presented into the 6th and the 7th visions of Revelation 14. First, there is the ingathering of wheat by the sickle being thrust into the earth in Revelation 14:16. Then there is the gathering of the residue to be burned in fire after it has been trodden down in the winepress of God's wrath in verses 17 through 20. The place where this treading of God's judgment is stated to be is the valley of Megiddon in Zechariah chapter 12, verses 9 through 11. And it shall come to pass in that day that I will seek to destroy all the nations that come against Jerusalem. And I will pour upon the house of David and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem the spirit of grace and of supplications, and they shall look upon me whom they have pierced. And they shall mourn for him as one mourneth for his only son, and shall be in bitterness for him as one that is in bitterness for his firstborn. And that day there shall be great mourning in Jerusalem, as in the morning of Hadad Rimmon in the valley of Megiddon. Again, Isaiah 34, verse 1. Come near, ye nations, to hear, and hearken, ye my people. Let the earth hear, and all that is therein, the world, and all things that come forth of it. For the indignation of the Lord is upon all nations, and his furies upon all their armies. He hath utterly destroyed them, he hath delivered them to the slaughter. Their slain shall also be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of their carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood. And all the host of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, and all their hosts shall fall down as a leaf falleth from off the vine, and as a falling fig from the fig tree.